Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on the 15th of July 2024 with the Astro Weather for the week starting today, the 15th, and going till the 21st of July. So this week, this Astro Week, Monday to Monday, is framed by two major events of the month. One is today, and it's been building up for a while, for several weeks. Today is the alignment, or was in the morning, the alignment of Mars with Uranus. Mars passed Uranus this morning in Taurus, towards the end of Taurus. And then the other event will be the second Capricorn Cancer full moon of the Cancer season on the 21st of July. So this Cancer season is framed by two full moons. The first was on the 21st of June, right, and summer solstice in early and very cuspy early Capricorn and Cancer, and the last one is at the very end. So two main events, and also the full moon will carry a lot of energy of what's been building since the new moon, of course, which was on the 5th of July. So let's go chronologically with event number one, which happened this morning. Mars crossed Uranus in Taurus. That happens about every 2 years. The last time was August 2022. In this case, a little less than 2 years. And the previous one, we get back to that when I use an example that I would like to refer to. The previous one was in January 2021. So this Mars-Uranus alignment we just had, now the energy is slowly fading and integrating. Typically, before the alignment, the energy is the strongest and it culminates with the alignment, and then, just like a full moon, then the energy slowly dissipates. So what's with that Mars-Uranus? Mars being the warrior energy, and Mars being a fierce, often also violent energy. It's about assertion, it's about aggression too, but it's about getting you what you want. And very masculine energy, as I said, warrior energy, ruling Aries, where currently the North Node is. So we need to keep an eye on Mars these months and 1.5 years. North Node in Aries since last July and going till coming January. So and that North Node energy is typically gives us an incentive to go into an enlightened expression of that quality, in this case of Aries, ruled by Mars, right? So with that, what would be great if we were more alive and alert and authentic and spontaneous, and rather than the shadow of Libra, and that is a lot about where the South Node is, right, currently, and that can be compromising, pleasing, needing to be liked, and going into dysfunctional and not really compatible relationships, or staying in those too long, and just to be with somebody. Aries is rather a solo energy, rather an energy of, again, autonomy and sovereignty in that regard. Autonomy and authenticity, I should say, rather. And so not compromising so easily. And it's also very fast energy. Anyway, now back to Mars. Mars having passed Uranus this morning. And this morning I'm saying Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And then Uranus is a surprise factor. Uranus is a shaker, and it shakes things up and disrupts things. It's shifting paradigms, right? So there's a crack basically with Uranus. It bursts bubbles, and it also is an awakening energy. It can make us really wide awake because it's a wake-up call, but it's also a call for awakening. So wake-up calls, shake-ups, and disruptions, and accidents, incidents, all of that can happen with Mars Uranus, right? So it can be also an accident prone time. A better way of expressing it is, of course, to especially with the Taurus flavor of it, to kick ourselves out of comfort zones, comfort traps, and experimenting, especially with what gives us joy, right? Or what brings joy in general. That is Taurus. And also what represents our true values and coming out with that, right? So Uranus gets us out of the closet, out into the open, and freeing energy up. Then, of course, we had the shootings at Trump on Saturday. Very apropos Mars Uranus as well. Why? I mean, I think it's already obvious, but also it's about sudden attacks, right? Sudden Uranus attack Mars, right? Quite literally. Sometimes these alignments and these archetypes, they manifest in quite a literal way and quite aligned with the time as well. Not to say it's meant to be, but it's a expression of this energy combo. And of course, this event also triggers all sorts of fallout, I suspect. And having said that, also clearly Trump was super lucky and fortunate because of his, apparently, what I heard, his sudden turn of his head, right? So he didn't face the crowd or the cameras or the shooter, but he turned to the right, or to the left, so that his ear was exposed rather. And so in this case, it's also just getting away with something. Is also Mars Uranus, right? Just escaping, or really having a super narrow chance of getting away from this attack. And also it brings out a lot of discussion, more discussions to come. I get to that when we talk about Mars going into Gemini later this week. More discussions, more debates, fierce debates probably to come with Mars going into Gemini, Gemini being Trump's sun sign as well. And for now, it's a lot of upset happened with that, more shakeups in many regards. And so it's really important for all of us with this very charged electrical, also being very Uranus, right, atmosphere, to ground ourselves, right, to ground ourselves in nature, to ground ourselves in the body, to ground ourselves in our values with Taurus, right, but primarily literally in the body and with Mother Earth. Speaking of Trump, one thing I still want to say, I also posted that just in a quick instant reaction post when I first heard about the event, is that I referred to his chart. So he was born with Sun Uranus, right? So he was born with the alignment of Sun and Uranus, 1946, June 14th, 1946. So that was not only the alignment of Sun Uranus, it was also a lunar eclipse. So also an opposition, a full moon, right? An exact full moon with the moon in Sagittarius and the Sun and Uranus in Gemini. So he's by nature a Uranian type, and that's what I referred to when I first heard about him in the political arena and the elections of 2016 came up. So surprises and shocks and unpredictability, and also shaking up the status quo, right? So definitely all of that, especially in terms of his communication. That's Gemini again, right? And calling out fake news. Yeah, if they are fake, when they are fake, they have to be called out, right? I think he even coined that whole term. Anyway, so who knows what comes next? And but again, for all of us, stay grounded. Don't get sort of swooped up in this tornado that's currently currently raging through the media. And so what else is going on? So for all of us, by the way, again, with Mars Uranus, if you have anything towards the end of Taurus or also towards the end of Leo, as Trump does, for example, right? So Trump has Mars, Pluto, end of Leo, and this alignment squared it. It was also on his midheaven, so his public persona was definitely affected by that, and it was all out there. So if you have something, as I said, end of Taurus, end of Leo, end of Scorpio, opposite that, or end of Aquarius, again in square, you're definitely affected by it. And it wouldn't be just a 1 day or 1 week event. It's definitely significant. It can help you liberate yourself in so many ways, but there might be also some shakeups in your life, right? So, but also keep the energy grounded and don't go into an accident energy. The last thing about that, since I announced it before, I want to say about Mars Uranus is it comes, as I said, every about 1.5 to 2 years. The last one was in August 2022. And I don't specifically remember, I didn't research what was going on politically, publicly in that regard. But the previous one was in January 2021. And I guess we know, especially if you're Americans, you know what was going on January 6th, 2021. So there's a connection with that. Anyway, let's move on. And we are now in a bigger seasonal context, or actually, yeah, anyway, we are now in a seasonal context at the end of Cancer, the last 10 degrees, the last 10 days, July 12th to 22. And that has a Pisces undertone. So you might, notice my ongoing, persistent reference to the decanates, these 10-degree segments of each sign in the zodiac, and I find it so helpful to work with them, and I want to point them out also in my videos. So now at the end, last 10 degrees, last 10 days, Pisces undertone, the mutable water sign. And so what's the combination? So Cancer being so much about belonging, home, homecoming, safety, and then with Pisces, it's a safety and homecoming through connectedness, belonging, and emotional connection being super important for that. And that might literally refer to, if you have planet, sun, moon, ascendant there, to your connection with family or with a bigger human family, with a cosmic family, especially, right, from the Pisces perspective. So it transcends, Pisces transcends, right? So in this case, it transcends the tribal and the family connections and the blood bonds, right? So all of that comes up with Pisces at home in the universe. Now we have also the waxing moon currently in Scorpio. When that attack happened, the moon was still in Libra, and then it went into Scorpio yesterday, Sunday. Now it's in Scorpio, the moon, today, Monday, and also tomorrow, Tuesday, until 6:25 p.m. Pacific. Then the moon goes over the Phoenix point into Sag. So that Scorpio moon energy is often feared or kind of misunderstood, or so that it has doesn't have the best reputation. And why? Because their emotional pain can come up, and also we go deeper, we go under the surface, being behind the scenes, right? So things are being revealed emotionally if you dive in, if you immerse yourself, especially now also with the Pisces undertone of the sun, the sun's segment, right? So if you really immerse yourself and get a feel of a situation, go into your sensitivity, your psychic capacities, and also to instinct from the moon in Scorpio perspective, right? So that can give you a really good read of a situation. And also it's time to process things, right? So now also with the whole Trump incident, for example, it's a lot about processing and see where the emotional process it takes us through, right? So for me, here's an example, right? So my grandpa, who was in the First World War, he had also a bullet shot at him, and thankfully it just grazed him by his ear. In this case, he was lucky to get away alive, but he had a big debilitation of his hearing from that, right? So that brought that back for me, right? So it can be also, like with Uranus even, right? Can be also a traumatizing experience or re-traumatizing experience. With the moon in Scorpio, it's time to process that, to really go into it, feel through it, and see where that takes you, right? And also how it connects, right? So connectedness is again a Piscean theme, and not just connecting the dots intellectually, but actually feeling connected and seeing how everything and all human life is connected in the big web of life. And that's beyond any affiliation or judgment or association or whatever, political something, right? So clearly you know what I mean, right? And moon in Scorpio. Now the moon goes through Scorpio, as I said, until tomorrow, Tuesday evening. And then the moon will go over the Phoenix point into Sagittarius. So through that processing, something again comes forward, and that can be a liberating experience with Sag, or can be the truth coming out through all that investigation, right, of Scorpio, all that behind the scenes digging. And then it's time to also, go with the heart, go with the truth. That is Sagittarius, and be free. Then the moon will go from Sagittarius to Capricorn, where the full moon will be on on Friday the 19th at 1:14 a.m. Pacific. That I call the integrity point. Cusps, have a cusp from signs, right? Sagittarius, Capricorn, have also quite a significance. It's not just a light switch. You are a Sag, you are a Capricorn. If you're born around December 20th, 21, 22, your sun is on this cusp, right? And so for that matter, integrity would be really important for you. So I call this point, this cuspy energy, integrity point, because it's a lot about integrity here. It's about walking the talk, implementing the understanding, the wisdom that comes from Sag. Then the moon in Capricorn, yes, will be full on Sunday the 21st at 3:17 a.m. at the very last degree of Capricorn, and the sun at the last degree of Cancer. So I show you the chart for that because, last degree, right? So just to point that out, the sun will go into Leo the day after, the 22nd at 12:44 a.m., just 44 minutes after midnight. So it's really literally a last day event, last day of the Cancer season. And now we have here the full moon chart. I still do old school, showing you the chart rather than screen sharing. Friend of mine said, we talked on Friday, why don't you screen share, have more bells and whistles? I'm such an old school organic kind of woman. And so I actually enjoy this and hope you appreciate it too. Now you have the full moon chart, right? So you have the sun here in Cancer, the moon together with or bridging over to Pluto here you see, here's that cusp is totally activated from the moon's perspective. The moon at the very end of Capricorn, Pluto retro at the very beginning of Aquarius. And here, oops, I'm so sorry. I just tipped the MacBook here. So the sun being here on this cusp, and that's the energy of the season. This is also where we need to gather energy. I call this the creativity point, right? So Cancer is very playful and Leo is very expressive and so on, right? So also the nurturing side of Cancer, the sense of belonging makes us maybe proud or maybe more confident, right? To express ourselves more fully. And so that energy here sits like more like quality of where do you feel you're part of this expressive, creative, and passionate field, and that can be literally a community. I'm saying community also because of here the Capricorn Aquarius cusp, right? So Aquarius would be community oriented and humanity oriented, groups of people. Capricorn is traditional, or it is also mature, right? So Capricorn rules time, age, maturity. So who are your people, right? So also long time friends goes into that. Old friends is also the theme of Capricorn Aquarius, right? And so it is a celebration of that, reactivation of that. And then the Capricorn Aquarius energy, of course, comes up also via Pluto. So Pluto brings us into soul, into inner intrinsic power that the soul carries, and helps us get energy for this transformation at the transition of ages. Then the question would be, who are the people whom you associate with, whom you are building community as also Capricorn Aquarius, right? With. And so all of that comes up with a full moon. And I'll write about the full moon, of course, in a specific blog post on my Astro News blog. And of course, you find it also in the newsletter that comes up for the full moon. A newsletter comes to you via email for every new moon and full moon. So you're most welcome to contact me if you want to be on the subscriber list. And yes, so more to come about the full moon. What does the full moon carry for now? Because the energy is building up for it, right? Again, the Mars-Uranus conjunction, as you see it here. At that point, Mars on the 21st of July, Mars would have passed, of course, Uranus, which it did this morning, and would have entered already Gemini. So that's the other event this week, Mars entering Gemini. And so that will be the 20th of July, just making sure my glasses are not so reflective. So the 20th of July until September the 4th. That's also super significant for the summer. More energy is building for the Gemini, in the Gemini department, so to say, and that has a lot to do with thoughts, reason, mind, but also discussion, right? Discussion can turn with Mars into fiery debates, right? So more of that likely, right? And it would be all about giving an energy to also questioning things, right? So Gemini has lots of questions. It's like the born journalist. Not every Gemini is, but the archetype, the prototype, right? So lots of questions, lots of discussion, lots of puzzle pieces that need to fit together, or there's a strong curiosity there, right? So, and that is and learning, right? So if you want to learn something this summer, I heard about that from several friends, especially language, right? That would be so Gemini. You get a lot of boost for that, right? Mars has a 2-year cycle, so is in Gemini every 2 years, and that hasn't happened since 2022, but Mars was at the time retro. Let's see how whether I find that, but you get the idea, right? So I have some screen cheat sheet here. Mars in Gemini last time. Mars was in 2022-23 for an extended time in Gemini because of its retro phase in Gemini, and that was from August 20th till 2022 till March 25th, 2023. So that was a long time in Gemini. You can also look back at that phase and see what happened at that time regarding learning, mind, discussion, debate, energy, more being in the cerebral, in the mental realm, right? And now is another time to activate that. So if you a perfect time, as I said, for learning something, I might put out, yeah, basically in it's a little tricky, right? Because you get the summer holidays, but yeah, mid-August maybe already a new course. Let's just yeah, put that out there. It would be perfect, like after the new moon in Leo, 4th of August. Maybe some of you are ready to learn. And I would like to ask you then also, what would you like to learn, right? That's a Gemini question, right? So, yeah, just came up with that idea right now as I'm speaking, right? And so then on a lighter note, and coming to a closure here too, Venus is now in Leo. Yeah, so Venus in Leo since the 11th of July. And in the full moon chart, okay, need some light. So the full moon chart, you can see Leo almost mid, Venus almost mid Leo already, right? Venus will be in Leo until August 4th. Yes, new moon in Leo. And I did actually a Facebook Live for that. Spontaneously, must have been inspired by Mars Uranus. So experimented with that, might do more. Facebook Live, 1 hour. Find that on my Facebook page, which I link here on YouTube. If you see the video on YouTube, can come over to my Facebook page where the Facebook Live is for Venus in Leo. So there's a lot of information there, and you can in the chat can ask me still some questions if it's not too extensive. That's all good. And yes, you can also see Mercury is in Leo. The Venus and Mercury are ahead of the Sun at this point, right? And will eventually go retro. Venus not so soon, only early next year. But Mercury will go retro soon. Mercury is coming to this stationary mode almost. Mercury will go retro on August 4th, another August 4th event. What else is going on August 4th? It's a crazy day. Yeah, Venus enters Virgo, Mercury goes retro, and of course the Leo new moon. Oh, yeah. So Mercury is now slowing down, right? And will eventually go into Virgo on the 25th of July, and from there, from early Virgo, go back into Leo. When I see that, I'm thinking of Trump again, and I think that's the last I'm saying about him today. But that's Trump's ascendant is in barely, it's like end of Leo. End of Leo is his ascendant, and Trudeau's ascendant is in early Virgo. That's very interesting. So both are affected by this Mercury retrograde with their ascendant, with their whole identity, right? So the Leo Virgo cusp, where they have their ascendant, Trump on the Leo side, Trudeau on the Virgo side, is also about self-awareness, right? So there's a strong Leonine self in Leo is built up there, definitely with Trump. And then you have the awareness. Then you have more the reason kicking in. And ideally, like for Trudeau, it would be really important if he was very self-aware. Who he is, what he's doing, whether what he's doing really serves serves the people, serves the country. Being in service is a Virgo theme, right? And is it healthy? Is it functional? Is my life healthy and functional? Really Virgo qualities. And how strong am I? That's a Leo question, right? And how confident and all that, and how popular, all of that is Leo. So yeah, today with some examples from the public arena. I might do that again. It was actually, yeah, enjoyed doing that, bringing that in. I typically also refer to public people in my blog posts, right? So you can find here or there something. I might do a blog post. A friend asked me today about the elections, US elections, and the candidates as they stand, right? So, yeah, lots going on in the astro scene. Hope you are in good alignment, you are being energized and surprised in only the best ways by this Mars-Uranus conjunction, and you're sailing right into the full moon, the cuspy blue full moon, because it's the second full moon in Capricorn Cancer, right? And I'll see you out there in real life, or you see me again here on this channel. Have a good week. Bye.